Hi, intrepid viewers. And so sorry. Yes, I was right. Sometimes you just don't want to be right, you know. But what happened? An appeal panel waited to the 11th hour and then cut the bond for the Yeti by 62%. They didn't even cut it in half. They cut it by 62%. So now he can rustle up a lazy 175 mil. And there you go. You know, and there's every chance once the appeal goes ahead, it'll be ruled at about that number, that the first one was too high. He can go with that. He's already posted it. See you later. Can you believe what you're witnessing? But look, the other thing that's happening that could be sensationally something, right. Now, you know he's got his Poxy Truth Social, and last year it managed to get in an income of $4 million and only lost 49 million. Awesome business in the tradition of the Yeti. So he's managed to pull off this merger, and we know the bulk of the investors are mum and dad Magarites. On paper, he's now got this 3.3 billion. But the problem for him is there's a caveat with all these big mergers, standard caveat, you can't do anything with the shares for 6 months. You can't sell them, you can't trade them, etc. And you can't encumber them, etc. But that's for normal people. Okay, there's a loophole. And if nothing else, this guy is the master of the loophole. And his board, who are all magophiles and friendly to him, can offer a waiver. So the next nightmare is, will he get a waiver to sell the shares? Will he get a waiver to sell the shares to pay for his legals? Will he get a waiver? He's making a strong case. He is the emperor. Well, I'm pleased to see the hangman, but the other cards are sort of leaning towards him. But look, this is him going out, or his henchmen, rushing out, convincing people this is in their best interests. Okay? Yeah. Give our cult leader what he needs. Give him this waiver. After all, he is the emperor. However, this isn't good news for them in the long term, I mean. Now, here's the thing. This also contains a surprise. This is things being stalled for a while, but how long is for a while? We'll have to keep revisiting this. It could be 3 weeks or it could be 6 months, but it's being stalled. I think this would be accountants and lawyers saying, but it says in the clause you all signed the document that said this can't happen for 6 months. So there's some delay. And this, I think, sums up the entire merger. Fool's gold. So the last time he went public, the shares in the casinos were going for, I think it was $35 a share when he announced it. Do you know what they sold for in the end? I saw this on Business Insider. 17 cents. They went from $35 a share, which is about where these ones are sitting, to 17 cents because it's not a good business. So this is fool's gold. But I think from this, delay for now, but if there's a way through, he will weasel through it. But can you believe what we're witnessing? And that jellyfish Merrick Garland. Stop. You know, he should, all of this stuff, heavyweights should have been discussing. How far can he go? What are our boundaries? They should have had it 3 years ago, if not 2 years ago, if not 6 months ago. They've just missed every window. So this, it seems like the American legal system can't deal with a bully with the IQ of a houseplant. You know, look, I know I'm ranting. However, don't lose faith for two reasons. One is there is an end game. There is an end game to this nightmare. And two, you are part of the end game. So it's really important not to feel ground down. Feel outraged by all means, because it is outrageous, but don't stay in the hot emotion of outrage. That's not helpful long term. It's a viable response, and then use all your techniques to calm down. But I think don't skip the outrage stage. Like, this is outrageous. Absolutely, deeply flawed. Okay, so let's move on, because sloppy shuffling, Lena. With the Republicans walking out and the majority is like this, we could see a case. I can't think of another incident in history where they actually leave themselves, the majority in Congress, enough could leave between now and November that they actually put themselves in the minority. So there is some bliss on the horizon. I mean, could we see this? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. In which case, Hakeem Jeffries would become Speaker. Mike Johnson, oh God, he's the ultimate Janus, isn't he? Two faces. All right. Okay. Will the RNC lose the Valley of the Hyenas, as I call Congress, before November? Will they lose it? Will they lose the majority? Oh my word. Oh my word. Look, we might see this. Wow. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I mean, it is pure Schadenfreude, badly pronounced German, and one shouldn't operate on such a low level, but how can you not? You've got to have a bit of fun. Okay. They're strategizing how to defend themselves here. However, equally, this could be what's left of the old school GOP strategizing how to defend what's left. I'm here to tell you, I said love, I said pet, I said doll. That horse has bolted. You guys, meaning middle of the road Republicans that were just, you know, everyday bigots and misogynists and so. They've now reinvented themselves as bastions of democracy. That ship has sailed. So it almost doesn't matter, because one thing this GOP can't do is strategize, because no one is pulling in the same direction. They're not, because they've put in all these apolitical people who don't know how to play that game of politics. They're all out for themselves, and they can't actually stay cohesive long enough to pull anything meaningful out of the bag. We are going to see the cutting through on this, long overdue. It's just so indefensible now. It is so embarrassing, if nothing else. that I think it's going to sort of fall on its own sword. We have the death card, the party. Whatever happens, the GOP is dead. It may be reinvented in another reality, but the GOP, as it traditionally stood, is gone, and you will notice the horse trampling over a figure who looks a little bit like the Yeti. And it's going to happen quite fast. It's going to happen fast. I think they've lost control. They've actually lost control of themselves and the party. Oh my God. Now, Alvin Bragg was pushing for a 15th of April trial date on election interference. We've got to, even though in shorthand we call it the Stormy Daniels case, it's actually about election interference and fraud and manipulation of campaign funds. So it is more serious than it sounds in that way. Anyway, all of that got set back by a document dump by Trump's legal team, who must have got their law licenses at Trump University, because they're falling like dominoes. So he's now got the 15th of April date. That's the beginning of the process of picking the jury, etc. But it's a beginning, and it's only a few weeks away. On the upside of all this too, because I'm a cynic and an optimist, so I take you on that roller coaster, because I think many of you are combinations of these things too. I think it's healthy to be cynical. You really wouldn't want to believe this stuff is really as powerful as it is. And optimism, because we as people have a right to actually remember the line, is it in the Declaration of Independence? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Remember that. So that trial will start. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I digress, famously. All these delayed trials, even though some will miss the cut, including even the massive Jack Smith case, some will creep along enough to hold the attention of the American public, because in the modern world, we've all got very short attention spans. So the nearer it is to November, almost the better, like I console myself with that. Okay, so Alvin Bragg pushing ahead. Oh, I didn't get to part 2. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, there's 2 other bits of juicy news. Well, there's more. NBC has hired Rona McDaniel, the maiden of American Christo-fascism, making her a paid contributor. They are about to pay Rona McDaniel $300,000 a year to prattle forth. Now, all the anchors are very upset. I don't know why the higher echelons of NBC, they always go for, whether it's Murdoch or whether it's the good guys, they still always go for this low-hanging fruit of where the fight is. Chase the ugly. And MSNBC had been a bit of a refuge from that. So why are they treating their audience like this? I just think it's really bad, bad, bad. Okay, so in other good news, Stephanie Lampert, none of us knew her name till yesterday. She's an election denier. She defends those who are part of the coup, entertainment purposes only, YouTube. And she was in court defending a coup plotter. The judge then dismissed the court, asked her to say, and she was arrested. You can't script this stuff. So she was arrested because she was expected to appear in Michigan on another series of things. She contravened her court orders. She left the state. She went to do this other thing. And Michigan, their court system noticed that she was absent and not complying. So she's been arrested. Now the chances are there's another one. NAGA attorneys, getting attorneys, you know, like they don't learn. Sidney Powell, Cheesebro. Oh, dear. Now, let me check my list here. And I'll finish with some cards for you guys because I think it's been a rough few weeks. I'll finish with some personal cards for you guys. Oh, I can't believe it, you know. What if his board gives him a waiver and he can access that money and then they'll lose it all? I mean, I'm still kind of speechless. Okay, so let's clear the energy and give you something positive. Happy eclipse, by the way. We knew it'd be major and it's going to be major good, major bad, major different, just major. So make sure you're floating at a frequency where you get maximum stuff going on. So this is advice, how to maximize your frequency. Because I sincerely believe going forward, it's all about what frequency. Do you operate on a low level, high level, in between? Haven't thought about it for 30 years. We really need to be more in tune with what we're putting out. Okay. Let's have a look. Message for you guys. Oh, blessings from above. 2 major arcana and an ace. I don't know. Do readers influence the cards as opposed to the cards doing what they do and then we all put our interpretation on it, for sure. But it's like these are an extension of what I was just saying. Look, all the things that are going on in the Hierophant card, organized religion, this is the halls of Congress, this is the courthouse. It's very hard to keep faith in these institutions that are just not at their best, you might say, under the jellyfish. Nonetheless, it's important to understand they have a role and an important role, but at the same time, we are being asked to hold these institutions accountable. This is your voice being heard card. Now, in the middle, the Chariot, moving on quickly after you've had setbacks. So you've had a lot of setbacks, right, with these institutions. And now it's time for people to make their mark, their line in the sand, all of you, what you'll tolerate, what you won't, and how to navigate that process. So this is very direct. So I'd encourage each of you to find one direct action you can do towards a better outcome in November. Everyone is responsible for their little bit of the earth and sky. So positive energy is also contagious. Just like fear and paralysis is contagious, so is optimism and energy. So if you're a blue dot in a red sea, or you're just feeling completely whacked around the chops and exhausted, pace yourself and find an action. What can I do? That might be helping the Dems in your local area, recruiting drives or something. Could be just shuffling paperwork voluntarily once a week, once every 2 weeks. It could be being a keyboard warrior. It could be gathering people to physically protest at the next atrocity. It can be anything at all, but always ask yourself, okay, I've had a big whinge. What am I doing towards positive change? If we keep that as our daily guideline, it does lift the vibration, and therefore you tend to attract someone else who is on that frequency and you get more energy, or your positive energy helps someone who's feeling quite down and unheard and powerless, give them a bit of a lift. And so that's how it works. Do not let them flatten you out. No. Higher frequency. I'll leave you with that thought. See you next time.